and due to the scope change, their schedule got way condensed.
You're not prepared to add a piece of equipment. Where are you going to put it?
Physically, this is large, and if you weren't planning on it, like, you can't just shove it in a corner. You can't really rearrange things in your electrical room to make it fit.
You could be talking about doubling your footprint. So who's prepared for that? Like you said, you don't have just a corner available for something like that.
We had the customer recently who, wasn't planning on having UPSs to be part of their data center, and then, kind of at the last minute, if you will, or, after they were already like down the road of like planning and engineering, they were told by their customer or their client, hey, you need to have UPSs in this environment. And, we connected with them and, you remember that?
Yeah. I do, yeah. And because of that, because they weren't planning on it, they were so far down in their process. So now the timeline that we could provide a solution was condensed. So we had to, get multiple resources locally and also from the factory just involved to make sure that we met that requirement, and kind of helped out the customer. Like you said, was new. They weren't used to, or excuse me, they weren't prepared or planning to install that piece of equipment. So we had a lot of input when it came to, we've done it, we've seen these types of projects, and this is how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, when we first connected with them, like, they were really looking for help, right? And we were able, using our network and using our relationships with people that we know, and some of the folks that we know that we were able to connect them with are absolutely industry experts in what they do. And we were able to, help that customer out who wasn't planning on having to do this with that scope change. And we were able to quickly connect them with somebody in the industry who knows everything. And they were able to, essentially get that schedule or that project back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming up with a repeatable solution. So, this would work across, all their different applications that they were looking, some sort of a product that, again, is kind of like repeatable. So maintenance-wise, shipping and receiving, electrical hookups, all those types of things were repeatable so that the time frame could continue to push forward. Because, if you start throwing in a bunch of different pieces of equipment, and now you're talking to people about, okay, this drawing is like this lineup is like this installation is like this, that's obviously just going to create, slowdowns with all of that. So
correct. Yeah, for sure. We had to kind of like find a one-size-fits-all approach and just kind of run with it, because, not only was this a scope change for them, but it also was condensing their schedule, right? So like there was the lead time of the equipment that we had to figure that piece out too.
For sure. Delivery, something we talk about all the time, and one of the first questions that I ask on a lot of interactions is, when do you need this by? And I know that we have conversations all the time with different pieces of equipment, different vendor resources, et cetera. But, when we heard this timeline, when we knew that this now had to get kind of wedged in there, we had to make sure that it could be done.
Yeah, so we had a customer with the scope change, and due to the scope change, because it was unforeseen on their end, their schedule got way condensed. So now they have to jump into this situation both feet. They gotta understand the UPS system. They've got to get a technical product that works for them. Now we got to get the equipment delivered, right? And that was one thing that we were able to do. And actually, I think that we delivered on time, and in some cases, we actually delivered early.
I would agree. Yeah. We can't always do that, obviously.
Right.
And neither can, the manufacturers that we deal with. But there was enough conversation between all parties where we understood this situation. We understood kind of the timeline, the implications behind it, et cetera. And, we came through, the manufacturer came through, and it set the customer up well. So.
because they were already down the road with like designing their buildings and like figuring out their electrical rooms and doing layouts for where they were going to put all their switchgear and their transformers. And then they got thrown a curveball kind of late for them, late in the design, if you will. So then we were able to connect with them. We were able to help them from a technical standpoint, like and choose a right UPS for the application. But then not only was delivery an issue, but the next thing that came up is where were they going to put it, right?
Yeah, if you're not prepared to add a piece of equipment at your facility, now exactly where are you going to put it? How are you going to do that? Now, how does that affect your timeline also? Not only do we have to get this piece of equipment, it has to be, drawings have to be updated, et cetera, but where are we going to put it? And it's an issue.
Yeah, it definitely was an issue in this situation, right? Like multiple UPS systems, nowhere to put them, and they're not small, right? Especially we're talking about a lot of batteries, a lot of lithium-ion batteries in cabinets, a lot of switchgear to support the UPS load, like input-output switchgear. Physically, this is large, and if you weren't planning on it, like you can't just shove it in a corner. You can't really rearrange things in your electrical room to make it fit. So fortunately, we were able to help them out with that too, right?
Correct, yeah. In some instances, you could be talking about doubling your footprint. So who's prepared for that? Like you said, you don't have just a corner available for something like that. So that's, in those types of situations, that's where, an e-house type of a solution would maybe really shine and really help out the customer. Like we said before, when it comes to staying on schedule, minimizing other expenses, et cetera, if they can continue to run those other parallel paths and now allow us to come alongside of them with a solution like this, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, so what you're saying is with an e-house solution, we're taking a whole bunch of installation off of their plate. They can use their labor force that they have on site right now to do other work, while in parallel, we're basically installing their UPSs for them and their switchgear for them in an e-house, and then just delivering it to site, dropping it on the pad, and it's ready to go.
Yep.
Saving them potentially months worth of time.
Absolutely. I mean, we make it sound easy, and there's a lot of work involved, and there's a lot of coordination involved. But again, they had a plan of X, Y, and Z. This was new to them. They're able to more or less stick to their plan while we step in and help, resolve this problem, this new issue for them, and to keep them on task.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, again, we've spoken about this before, and we speak about it a lot. It's like really valuing our vendor network and really like building like a healthy, strong relationship with them and partnering with them and asking them to partner with us, right? So like in this particular situation, we leaned on our vendor network to support this project and to really help us come through for the customer.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to be able to get resources on the phone, people answering emails promptly, exchanging information, opening dialogue, as quick as possible so that, it's as painless for the customer as possible.
Yeah, you don't have time in this situation where scope has changed and the timeline has been condensed. Like, we don't now have time to go build a relationship with a container integrator, somebody that we've never worked with before, right? So fortunately, we had relationships in place. We had a vendor network in place, a manufacturing base that we could rely on. And they picked up the phone, to your point, because we have a good reputation and we've worked with them before.
Yep, and deliveries taking place yesterday.